Who is the NexiGo Aurora Pro actually good for, who should walk away, and does it justify the price tag for someone just looking for a decent home theater upgrade? That's the question I keep hearing in the comments whenever a new ultra-short-throw projector pops up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through the everyday scenarios that matter, the hidden trade-offs you won't see on the spec sheet, and whether the Aurora Pro lands where you need it. First off, the biggest hesitation people have is, will this really turn my living room into a cinema without turning my whole house into a light show? The Aurora Pro advertises 4K resolution, laser dimming, and Dolby Vision, all packed into a box that sits just inches from the wall. In practice, the ultra-short-throw design means you can place it on a low console or even a sturdy coffee table, and it will fill a 100-inch screen from a distance of about a foot. I tried it in a modest 12 by 15-foot apartment with standard blackout curtains. The image popped, and the black level was deep enough that the room's ambient glow didn't wash it out. That's a real win for anyone who can't or doesn't want to mount a projector on the ceiling. If you're a gamer, the lowest latency claim is worth a look. The Aurora Pro uses a response-time-optimized processing pipeline that cuts ghosting and motion blur. I paired it with a next-gen console for a quick session of fast-paced shooters, and the on-screen lag was imperceptible compared to a typical TV. The built-in 60-watt stereo speakers also delivered a decent boom for a small room, making it possible to enjoy a cinematic feel without immediately scrambling for a soundbar. That said, the speakers aren't a substitute for a dedicated home theater system if you're after true surround immersion. Now, who should skip it? If you live in a bright, sun-filled living space with no way to control lighting, the Aurora Pro's 2400 lumens will still struggle to compete with daylight. I tested it in a kitchen with the blinds half down and the picture looked washed out, especially during daytime streaming of HDR content. The projector is designed for controlled lighting environments, so a bedroom, home office, or dedicated media room is the sweet spot. Also, if you're looking for a pure projector that you can bolt to the ceiling and hide away, the ultra-short-throw footprint might feel bulky. You'll always have a box right in front of the wall. Let's talk setup. The screen adoption feature promises you can throw the image onto a painted wall, a whiteboard, or a dedicated screen without major calibration. I painted a matte white section of my wall with a flat white paint recommended for projection. The first boot up required a quick keystone correction, but after that the projector locked onto the wall and held the geometry without needing constant tweaking. For folks who don't want to purchase a pricey screen, this is a practical way to get a decent image without extra hardware. However, the projector's lens is fixed, so you lose the ability to zoom in or out. You'll need to adjust the distance manually if you want a different image size, which can be a bit of a dance when you're moving furniture around. One of the headline features is Dolby Vision and HDR10+. In a side-by-side test with a 4K HDR TV, the Aurora Pro's colors were vibrant but leaned a touch toward oversaturation in certain scenes. Think of a neon-lit cityscape where the reds feel a little too hot. The HDR performance is respectable for a laser projector, yet it's not on the same level as a high-end OLED TV. If you're a cinephile who values perfect color grading, you might still want a secondary display for critical viewing. For most streaming services, though, the difference is subtle enough that the immersive feel outweighs the slight color shift. Battery life isn't a concern for a projector, but power consumption is. The laser engine runs at a steady draw, and while the unit is marketed as energy efficient, you'll notice a modest increase in your electricity bill if you're running it for multiple hours each night. It's not a deal-breaker, but worth noting for the eco-conscious buyer. On the flip side, the projector's fan is audible at lower volume settings, just enough to remind you it's working, but not loud enough to drown out dialogue. In a quiet movie night, you may want to turn the volume down on the speakers and rely on a separate audio solution. Maintenance is another practical point. Laser projectors like the Aurora Pro typically promise longer lamp life than traditional bulbs, and indeed the spec sheet mentions a multi-year lifespan. I haven't needed to replace anything after a few weeks of use, but the unit does have a small vent that can collect dust over time. A quick monthly wipe with a soft brush keeps it quiet and prevents heat buildup. If you're someone who neglects cleaning, you may notice a gradual drop in brightness after several months. So, where does the value really sit? The